Hi friends of cocktails! If you saw the previous episode, I mentioned a challenge between myself and Jean-Felix from Truffles on the Rocks. Well, it didn't stop with him making a clarified apple juice cocktail.
My friend Kevin, it is my turn to challenge you back. This was supposed to be a clarification challenge. So I would like to challenge you to make any cocktail clarified with yogurt. Good luck. Cheers.
I have to admit, I never thought about clarifying a cocktail with yogurt. But I don't see why it shouldn't work. If you're ready, let's start. It's cocktail challenge time. So for a cocktail using yogurt clarification, I started with the selection of yogurt which I like the most. Greek yogurt. Or Greek-style yogurt, if it's harder to find the real thing. Greek yogurt has more protein and a thicker consistency, since it has been strained to remove the whey. With the yogurt's origins from Greece, I figured I'd use some spirits from Greece as well. Metaxa and 𝗬𝗨 come to mind first, so I decided to make Metaxa 12 stars the star of the show. Metaxa, a Greek amber spirit, was created by silk merchant Metaxa in 1888. Often described as brandy-like spirit, it's really hard to classify since it's made from the combination of aged wine distillates, Muscat wines from the Aegean Islands, and Mediterranean botanicals. It's Greece's most exported spirit, with 5 and 7 stars being most common, but these 12 stars will be a wonderful choice for what we're making. Today's cocktail will be a twist on the Manhattan Bay, a recipe I found on their webpage. If you get a bottle of Metaxa, it's a great and simple recipe to try. Here's how to make this Greek version of the Manhattan. I'm adjusting the specs just a bit by using the 12 stars in place of Metaxa 7 stars and reducing the amount of bitters. The combination of Metaxa 12 and 𝗙𝗵𝗻 vermouth works great in this. The website says to serve in a chilled coupe glass and garnish with an orange zest and a candied cherry. But I think just the orange peel is enough. When you're not garnishing a 𝗙liche cocktail, I like to think that less is more. This is great, but where does the yogurt come in? For that, I swap 𝗙𝗵𝗻 for what I call Greek punch. There's a lot of stuff in here: Muscat wine, 𝗬𝗨, honey syrup, and mountain tea with wormwood. All of that was then clarified with Greek yogurt. Here's the process. I started by making mountain tea. I couldn't find Greek mountain tea, so I used this specialty version of shepherd's tea with a blend of medicinal herbs. And since we're leaving out vermouth in this cocktail, I also added a small amount of wormwood, which adds a bit of bitterness. For 200 ml or 6 3/4 ounce, I added 3.5 grams of tea and 0.1 gram of wormwood. After steeping it for 5 minutes, I drained the tea and let it cool for a bit. At this point I realized I don't have my apron on. That's better. Time to mix the ingredients we'll clarify. I started with 120 ml or 4 ounces of Muscat wine from a local wine producer. Aged aromatic Muscat wine is a key ingredient in Metaxa, so this just fits right in. Next is the famous 𝗬𝗨, the anise flavored aperitif that's known worldwide. 30 ml or 1 ounce will be just right. To balance our Greek punch with some sweetness, I added 30 ml or 1 ounce of honey syrup. To see why and how I mix it with water, check out the syrups episode. Last but not least, tea. 45 ml or 1.5 ounce of our mountain tea with wormwood. And now the clarifying agent, the Greek yogurt. Don't add the yogurt into the mixture, but place it in a separate container and pour the mixture over. 45 grams is enough. Mix well and place it in the fridge. Then wait for at least 6 hours. Once it's done, I strained it through a coffee filter. And then it's time to wait some more, because this was dripping through incredibly slow. After you start seeing clear drops, you should swap the bowl and restrain the initial liquid. What seemed like an eternity later, this was ready to bottle. When kept in the fridge, this will have a crazy long shelf life, but it's better to use it. You could even enjoy this on its own, on ice. But let's make the Greek Yogurt Manhattan. As with all stirred drinks, I'll start by chilling the mixing glass, while the coupe glass we'll serve the cocktail in is already in the freezer. Start with 60 ml or 2 ounces of Metaxa 12 stars. The Mediterranean herbs infused in the making of Metaxa will be a great middle ground with the next ingredient, the Greek punch, 30 ml or 1 ounce, just like with vermouth in the classic. Then add 2 dashes of Angostura Bitters, and you're ready to chill and dilute the cocktail. This will turn the cocktail ever so slightly hazy, because of the 𝗧𝗶𝗺 effect when adding water to, well, 𝗧𝗶𝗺. If you want to avoid this, but still keep some of the anise flavor, you could steep stir anise while making the tea and omit the 𝗧𝗶𝗺 from the punch. But then you reduce the amount of alcohol and take out a Greek ingredient, and that's not what we're going for here. I still think I completed the challenge. Add a cherry. So here's a cocktail with Greek yogurt clarification. Yamas. Fresh anise and floral muscat on the aroma lead into this spirit-forward cocktail. With Metaxa as the base, it's fruitier than the classic Manhattan, but still with a perfect balance of sweet and bitter. Anise from the 𝗧𝗶𝗺 stays on the aftertaste, with a gentle peppery spiciness, rounded by honeyed sweetness. And the candied cherry, of course. Compared to the classic, it's similar and very different at the same time. So this was a really fun experiment, and I hope you got some ideas on things you can use to make a clarified cocktail. But I don't want this fun little challenge to stop here. I found it interesting to come up with a cocktail linked to a certain country. So I challenge you, Jean-Felix, to come up with a cocktail that will somehow be linked to Slovenia. With you moving to Europe, it's great for you to start exploring some countries you'll be able to drive to pretty soon. If you need any help with ingredients, let me know. Or ask your viewers. I know a lot of Slovenian bartenders that follow your channel. The whole Cocktail Time crew wishes you a smooth transition as you start a new chapter in your life. Cheers.